joining us today. And we'll start off. Kirsten Keith is the candidate for the San Mateo County Harbor District. It'll be followed by candidates for the San Mateo County College District Trustee, and Eugene Whitlock and Lisa Petrides, and then the candidates for the Jefferson Elementary School District Board, candidates Wallace Moore, Andrea Jordan, and Manifu Biago. I'm so sorry on that. Manifu, could you say it for me, please? I'm would appreciate. Is she there?
She needs to be promoted to panelist. She's still as an.
I did. Oh, I did.
Yeah, I think she dropped off then, and so you have to redo it.
Oh, okay. Attendee. Here we go. There you go.
Can you hear me?
It's not.
We can hear you, but we can't. We just see your name. We don't see a picture. You have your video on?
It's on. Everything's on my end. It seems to be on that end. That's what I'm troubleshooting. There's some. I apologize. I don't want to hijack the meeting, but my name is.
No, it's this is a a work. Okay. Asked to unmute more. It keeps bump. It's not letting me. Asked to unmute more. There we go. Are you back in there, Manifu? Is that?
There we go. Thank you.
There you go.
Oh,
very good. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Success. Okay. And then, like I said, San Mateo County College District trustee candidates Eugene Whitlock and Lisa Petrides as well. So let's start off with Kirsten Keith. She's is it District 1, Kirsten, for the Harbor District?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thanks for letting me say a few words. I know you have a busy meeting today, so I appreciate it. My name's Kirsten.
3 minutes.
Pardon? Yeah,
3 minutes.
I'll use less. My name's Kirsten Keith, and I'm running for District 5 for the San Mateo County Harbor District. And I'm formerly the mayor of Menlo Park. I was on our city council for 8 years. I'm on the Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency. I've been that board of directors on that for 7 years now. And the San Francisco Creek Joint Powers Authority, I was on that for 7 years also, dealing with flooding issues and water issues and sea level rise issues with our SAFER project. And I'm running for the Harbor District to provide environmental stewardship for the harbors and to provide fiscal responsibility and to make sure that the facilities master plan and strategic plans are completed and that we really upgrade the facilities and keep our commercial fishermen happy and make sure that we have recreational opportunities and enhance public safety. So I just want to say thank you. I'm going to put in the chat my website and have a great meeting. And thanks everybody for being involved. And thank you for opening regarding Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Kirsten, for sharing that. And then we'll move on to basically to the San Mateo County College District trustee candidates. Eugene, would you like to share your goals and vision? And you have 3 minutes.
Sure. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Eugene Whitlock, and I'm running for the board of the Community College District. I'd like to start by saying personal things about me so that people understand why I'm running. So I'm a father of 3 children. One of them you probably saw, he's trying to be my campaign manager. But I spend a lot of time thinking about education and the opportunities that will be available to them. My mom was a public school teacher. And so when I think about where is it that I can most make a difference, it is in education. So I worked in the county for over 15 years with K-12 school districts, directly in the classroom, supporting teachers, supporting administrators, and I was 5 years at the community college district. And during that time, I got to see firsthand how fantastic our community colleges are, but I also got to see how they're failing most of our students. So the potential is there to do great things, but it's not helping all students. Fewer than 30% of students graduate on time, and that disproportionately impacts students of color, our Black students and our brown students. There are things that we can do to make a difference. And my plan to improve student access and outcomes, first of all, is to create early college programs throughout the high school districts in the county so that students can get college credit while they're still in high school. Those programs have been created in other parts of the state. It's time for us to create those here. The other thing that I think is important to do is to free our faculty and staff from a lot of the administrative stuff that they're caught up with so they can actually spend time doing the things we hired them to do, focus on our students. We know from research that intense focus between faculty and students is what keeps students coming back to class day after day, semester to semester, and what's necessary for the students to graduate. For me, I've been doing this kind of work, as I said, for many, many years. I now work at UC Berkeley as the Chief People and Culture Officer. There I'm focused on making it a place where people can come to work and feel good about themselves in the classroom and in the workplace. And so given that experience that I can bring to the College District Board, and I already have a reputation and a career based on speaking up and not being afraid to tell the truth, even when it's a difficult truth, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to fight for what's right for our students, no matter what that might be. And so I'd appreciate your support in the election. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eugene. And next will be Lisa Petrides. Patrides? Thank you.
Yeah, Patrides, like Archimedes.
Patrides.
Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So good morning. I'm Lisa Patrides, and I'm running for the San Mateo County Community College District Trustee, Area 1. Thank you for your opportunity to speak this morning. I have been an educator for 30 years as a college professor and today as a nonprofit founder here in Half Moon Bay. And as someone who possesses a great desire to learn and strive for continuous improvement, my service as a trustee on the board will be driven by a deep sense of knowledge and creativity to a community that has a very strong thirst for change. I believe that education is a human right, and above all things, I value access and equity for all. As your elected official, I will work hard to achieve these goals in collaboration with you and the schools and partners in our community. I'll work beside you and roll up my sleeves to get things done. I believe that community college is one of the most significant gateways for higher education and job training programs for women, immigrants, low income, and students of color. And this includes higher success rates needed for those seeking to obtain an associate's degree, transfer to four-year college, obtain a career and technical certificate, or simply to retrain during this time of extreme workforce change, which we're about to experience collectively. I bring a true and informed outsider's perspective, a fresh set of eyes to move forward from the issues that the district has experienced in the past few years. I've had the opportunity to meet with teachers and staff, and I found that we share truly a deep understanding of what the goals of the district should be, which is putting a group of diverse students first and making college safe, inclusive, and affordable. Last but not least, I'm a proud lifelong Democrat. As founder of the Half Moon Bay-based nonprofit ISKME, I have championed freely available open textbooks and digital libraries to ensure access and equity for all learners, and to ensure that our students don't need to choose between buying textbooks or providing food on the table for their families. I have worked with governments and ministries of education throughout the developing world and have a sense of the challenges and opportunities that the affordances of education bring. And I look forward to the collaboration and work we can do together to improve educational opportunities for all students and to keep schools safe for employees. I'm proudly endorsed by our Lieutenant Governor, Helene Kounalakis, California State Assemblyman Mark Berman, Dave Pine, Don Horsley, Warren Slocum, the San Mateo County Federation of Teachers, Jerry Hill, the California School Employees Association, the San Mateo Labor Council, the San Mateo County Democratic Central Committee, and several others that you can see on my website as well, and I will put that in the chat. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to your endorsement.
Thank you very much, Lisa, very much. So we'll move on now to the Jefferson Elementary School Board candidates. And let's start off with Wallace, please. Wallace Moore.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Wallace Moore, and I'm currently on the board on the Jefferson Elementary School District Personnel Commission. And also, I also serve on the Measure K Oversight Committee. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for inviting me today. Well, my goals are to provide quality educational opportunities for all children, support special education needs, upgrade technology, promote parent involvement, and after-school programs, ensure all schools are safe, seek partnerships and grants to bring more programs to our district, support the Jefferson Council or PTAs, recognize and support the importance of community schools, and to support teachers and staff, especially during this pandemic season. Why should we support them? Because right now, there's a problem with people coming back to school, kids. It's very important that we pay special attention to the needs of disadvantaged kids and their families. In my view, those families are the best judges, in my view, of what needs to be done. We should take into consideration their input, especially during this pandemic. So a distinct priority of mine that I will bring to the board is to debate the ways we can solve problems. For example, there are technologies that are available right now for sanitizing the school. You know, we want to listen to CDC or the scientists to ensure that no kids come back to school or teachers come back to school and jeopardize their lives. There are technology that can sanitize the school and ensure that the HVAC system, ventilation system is taken care of. I was given to understand there's going to be some monies in Sacramento for that. And I want to make sure that we lobby to get those funds to do the renovation for purification systems so that the students could be safe. So
1 minute.
efforts in conjunction with my colleagues, if elected, will center on all children in the community. One child is no more important than another. We are a diverse community and we must celebrate that diversity. Unlike many students or unlike many parents, my child did not go to school in our district. The reason why at age 4, the Lord took her, my only child. So she's no longer here. But like I feel that she's prodding me to be a father to 580 kids by serving on this board. Because I feel that if she's not here, and I feel sad about it, but I'll go on and continue. My efforts in terms of the community as planning commissioner and as personnel commissioner and as president of the national.
I'm sorry, time is up.
Oh, is it up? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Wallace. Okay. And then we'll move on then to Andrea Jordan.
Hi, my name is Andrea Jordan. Thank you for having me here today. I am running for the Jefferson Elementary School Board. I have no longer decided to take a back seat when it comes to my community. I am a parent of 2 children in our school district, one of whom just started out in kindergarten. And I believe that every child, as well as my own, deserves the best possible educational experience to propel them to achieve greatness. Professionally, I am a business development manager for a CPA firm in California, and I serve about 300 people, and I manage a team of 10. So when it comes to funds and looking at budgets, I am no newbie to that. I also am currently on the PTSA executive board at Benjamin Franklin Intermediate as the treasurer. I'm also the website manager at Garden Village, as well as a teacher's assistant there. And so I hope to bring a fresh voice, diversity, a leadership expertise to complement and challenge what we already have in place. And so voting for me would mean voting for yourself, and I would like to be the voice of the people and the community. Some of the priorities that I would like to tackle are student and teacher attrition, to work in increasing transparency around the effects of student and teacher attrition to our individuals, schools, and school districts. Also tackling the failing infrastructure, working to increase federal funding to supplement the state subsidy to our public schools, as well as assist with monitoring and evaluating school expenditures to determine how funds can be effectively spent to support student outcomes. Thirdly, I would like to tackle representation. I want to work with our schools to increase representation in a variety of ways, pushing forward ethnic studies programs to become universal in all of our schools, as well as incorporating consistent and implicit and explicit bias trainings that aims to support teachers and staff that may not share the same circumstances as their students. Lastly, I would like to tackle educator development and support, working to improve teacher.
1 minute.
training, low morale, and access to housing. When we support our educators, it will benefit teachers and students alike. In the words of the late icon Ruth Bader Ginsburg, real change, enduring change happens one step at a time. And I hope that my decision to run has this effect on our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. And next is incumbent Manifu Laega Anoye. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm glad we are here and gathered today. I'm definitely very grateful for the opportunity to share my story. I did put in the chat my Facebook page, which can give you the political perspective of how I'm doing in the pulse of my campaign. But I would like to share my story as a mother and why I was encouraged to join in the fight of public education. I'm a mother of 6. I'm one of 22. So I'm a proud product of public education. And I believe in access, equity, inclusion. We've heard these words over and over again. But what I believe I bring to the board and have brought to the board over the 5 years I've been sitting in this seat are action to those very words. I believe that being a teacher and an educator is one of the most noble jobs. And the reality is that we understand and recognize that they need to be supported better. One of the things that myself and my colleagues on the board have done have come together to support a bond measure that has afforded us the opportunity to build workforce housing. Unfortunately, that was interrupted due to COVID, but we were ready to break ground on that. That is because we were laser focused and understanding the pulse and the needs of our district. Additionally, I believe in building pipelines and pathways of teachers of color. I believe that our curriculum should be reflective of the students and the stories that they bring and the rich history that they represent. So since I came to the board, I've been a huge proponent of ethnic studies. It's not just promoting who I am as a Pacific Islander and the uniqueness that I bring, but when we look at the social unrest that has plagued our country, our local communities, it means that we need to learn more about each other. It means that we need to understand the neighbors that sit next to us, that live in our neighborhoods, and that contribute equally to what we are and who we are.
1 minute.
One of the reasons why I ran is because my youngest daughter is special needs and her needs were not met. I was speaking to a colleague of the community who had just come onto the board and asking him to strengthen the process of special ed education. Unfortunately, after that conversation, 2 weeks after, he died. The seat became vacant. I stepped up to the calling and I ran for the seat. I, like my opponents, who I don't want to call opponents, I believe that they are champions in this race because it takes courage to step up to run. I believe we're all in it for the right reasons. But I also believe that my experience is telling of what my belief system is and the action that I brought to the board. So a vote for Manufoli Ainganawai is truly a vote for the community that I come from. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share. Good luck to everyone.
Okay. Thank you so much, Manifu. Oh, we appreciate that. Now we're moving on to our candidates panel, our Pacifica City Council candidate panel. We do this on an annual basis. And the candidates today that are joining us are Sue, for District 1 is Sue Waterloss, and the candidates for District 4, I beg your pardon, District 4 is, oh my goodness, Tiger Jazz, Big Stick, Michael Cohen, and Marge Davis, okay? Candidate Espinosa, I don't believe is with us today, okay, in District 1. Before we get going on this, I would like to encourage members or participants here, attendees, to, if they have a question that they would like proposed, we have a set of questions we have, but if you have a question you would like proposed, to please put it in chat. We will gather it up just like we gather up our little cards when we're able to meet and gather in person. But we'll gather that information, and Marianne is going to collate those and see if we can add any questions to the ones that we have set now. Okay, so please be welcome to do that. And with that, we're going to, let's see here. I'm going to, boy, I need to move some people here. Are you able, Marianne, to move people back as attendees? No. Okay. So bear with me here. Bear with me a moment.
Morning.
Okay, I'm not seeing, okay. Oh, here we go. There we go. I appreciate your patience. This has been a learning experience. We should have candidates showing, and let's see here. So the process today is it's basically a round robin, just like we do when we gather in person, and we will have a proposed, we do in person, candidates, there's candidates for District 1 and there's candidates for District 4. And as Jim put out in our minutes and let you know that we've changed this, we do not have at-large elections any longer. They are now just by district. This year we're voting, like I said, in District 1, District 4. Next year it will be District 2, 3, and 5 that candidates will be proposed for those areas. In the history of that was put up. Jim put it up for our attendees to why that changed. But that's the way it is now. Okay, so please know that, and the map was also put up by Jim to show how the districts are divided up. Okay, so at this point, we should have. Boy, this is really. Candidates will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves, and we'll start out with our incumbent and councilwoman, Sue Vaterlos.
Hi, my name is Sue Vaterlos, and I'm actually not an incumbent because of the district elections. I am a current city council member, but not an incumbent because it's the new districts. The reason I'm running again is because in government, everything takes a really long time. We've been working on the general plan, the Sharp Park specific plan, local coastal plan with sea level rise, and those are really important issues for the entire city. My number one item I'd like to work on right now is because of the COVID virus, our businesses are in big trouble. We did start a fund for some of the businesses, but it's difficult for everyone to come back into the normal reality, which is what we're in now. This will be our normal for quite a while, and I'm really upset about the way that the businesses are having issues. So that's number one. We have a lot of day-to-day issues. The 4G towers that are being proposed, road paving, RVs, homelessness, a lack of affordable housing, and the seawall. That's huge. We did get a grant, and we're working on the seawall, so a brand new one. Also, I'd like to say something about my district. My district is not involved in politics at all. And somehow I would like the people in my district to be more involved, to reach out to people to see what they actually need. It's interesting the differences in next door in the south versus the north. And the north end doesn't have any politics in it at all. And politics are really important. What we do as a city council is important. And I would like more people to be involved. And that's it for me today.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, and then
Susan, one
yes.
thing, Marge Davis got dropped back to an attendee and she needs to be promoted to panelist.
Okay.
And
I've been trying to do a little housekeeping here. Okay.
And there's a question about the district voting, and somebody's asking for the map of the districts.
Okay. Are we able to post that? And I just. Okay.
I have it. I could post it briefly if you want.
Okay. Sorry about that, Marge. You should be back now. Okay. And okay. As far as the district elections, there was basically a lawsuit that took place that the city was sued, and this has been going throughout the state for different school districts and municipalities, and it is challenging representation. We have equal representation throughout a municipality, and that's why our city decided not to fight that, is my understanding, and I think Sue probably has better information on it, or better able to explain it than me. But that's why we have district elections now, and they're beginning with this year, and they'll going forward. We will have representations from each of our 5 districts in Pacifica. Are you able to put that up, Marianne? Or?
You have screen sharing disabled, so you have to.
Okay, screen share and share. Okay.
Okay, hold on a second.
Boy, everybody, thank you for being patient. This has been a real learning curve for us, trying to remain.
God, I can't get it. I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties also.
Okay.
I'm only viewing your screen, Susan. I need to be able to share my screen.
Okay. Now. Okay, then are you able to stop what you're doing? Because all I'm seeing is Zoom in front of mine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it also says at the top, you're seeing Susan Wallace's screen. Oh, okay. Mine finally came back.
Okay.
Well, for a second, and then went away. This probably isn't worth spending this much time on.
Yeah, and I'm concerned now. Okay, all I'm getting is, wow.
So why don't you turn off screen sharing, Susan?
I can't even find that. Oh, this is terrible. Okay, here I've got it. I've got it.
The district map there.
Okay, everybody. Oh, gracious. Okay, so we've got. All right. So I hope that's an explanation, and also it was presented to out with what Jim had sent out. So there's an explanation and a link for that, explaining what has happened with our city and why we now have district elections. Okay, so the next person for district will be for District 4. And Tiger Jazz, Big Stick, would you please share, give us your introductory 3 minutes? Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the Pacifica and Daly City Democrats for hosting us and giving us this opportunity to voice ourselves and get to know the community. It's appreciated. Before I say anything, when I heard the news about Ruth Bader Ginsburg yesterday, it kind of hit me directly in the gut. And that was before my mind started thinking about the ramifications politically. She was, at the risk of sounding unnuanced, a champion for humans to be allowed to be the humans they wish to be, in the simplest terms, and she will be dearly missed. Okay, so my name's Tiger Jazz Twirls Big Stick. I'm a graduate of Tulane University in New Orleans. I graduated with 2 degrees, English with an emphasis in creative writing and religious studies. Since my time graduating, I've authored 2 novels. I've been serving on the board of directors of the Pacifica Resource Center for the last 5 years. The last 2 years, I've been the vice president of the board of directors, and I've been a planning commissioner with the city for the last 1.5 years. And probably the vast majority of you know me, if for nothing else, working at the Lindemar Safeway, where I've been checking groceries for a long time, but I'm also a supervisor of the checkers and courtesy clerks. And at times I hold other roles managing various other aspects of the store. That's to say that I have experience managing a staff and know how to work on that level. From my time on Planning Commission, I have experience with the physical realities of how the city works. And I've spent a long time being very involved in the community, not because I've ever had aspirations prior to a few years back of maybe being on council, but because initially I wanted to be a part of the community and make a positive difference where possible. We have plenty of issues to discuss, and I want to take the time to introduce myself rather than talking about those issues, because I figure we're going to be spending the rest of the time talking about those issues. When I talk to people, the reason they seem to be excited about my candidacy is because they know me over the years. They know me from my service at the store. They know me from my service with the resource center. They know me from my service with the city. They've seen me attending almost religiously every city council meeting for the last 6 years practically. And they know that I put my heart into it. They know I listen to the community. They know that I'm not somebody who joins a group, but somebody who stays outside of a group so I can listen to what every human being is saying rather than fighting a battle alongside a group. I'm here to fight on behalf of my community, which means it is my voice you will always hear rather than the voice of a group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiger. Michael Cohen.
Thanks for having me, first of all, and thanks for hosting all of the candidates this morning. So I got into this race after following the city council meetings over the past 6 months or so, and just seeing sort of half the council being unresponsive to the community. The sentiment at these council meetings on RV parking primarily was just overwhelmingly against. And the council persisted in moving forward. And just this past Monday night at the council meeting, there was a moment when the mayor just didn't want to take no for an answer. All of the options were exhausted. Parking in RVs in church lots was not going to happen. And it even took Anita Rees coming out and saying, the PRC had no desire to move forward with this insane plan to park all these RVs in your neighbor's driveway. And finally, the mayor said something like, that's it? We're not going to do anything? After all of these meetings with residents up until midnight sometimes, telling them in no uncertain terms, we do not want this. And as a council member, you are sent there to be an elected representative. You need to listen to your constituents. So that's really what got me into this race, was that I felt like some of these council members were just not listening. And I'll tell you, since I've started down this path of running for this office, there have been a few themes that have emerged as I talk to people and listen to their viewpoints, because that's mostly what I've been doing, is listening to people and synthesizing these perspectives. But a constant refrain that I have heard from folks has been that this council is not listening to us. And some of the other candidates in this race, amazingly, are just very upfront about the fact that they are not going to listen to residents. You can go read it on their website. So the RV issue is certainly not done. This could resurface in any kind of crazy form the way it did originally. If we don't have a council that is receptive to the express wishes of residents. Unfortunately, we have bigger issues to worry about in this town, and that's what I'm most eager to talk about this morning. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michael. And Marge Davis, you have 3 minutes for your introduction. Mm-hmm. You got it? You should be.
She's muted.
You're still muted.
Okay. Well, I think we were both trying to unmute at the same time. My apologies. So good morning, and thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting this. I really appreciate it. Marge Davis, also for District 4. And I'm going to ad lib a minute here. I just want to make it clear that I am here to listen, to learn, and to help find solutions. So if anything has led anyone to believe that I'm not, please bear that in mind. And what I'd really like to do, kind of along the lines of what Tiger said, is I want to help you get to know me. And I moved here to Pacifica in 1985 as part of a young family, and hoping that we could afford to buy our own home. I lived here for 3 years. We were able to buy our home in 85. I've lived here as a renter, as a homeowner, as an advocate, and as a community volunteer for 35 years. I've served as the president and treasurer for Pacifica's Environmental Family. I was part of the founding group for Pacifica Gardens and a member of that board, and am currently the treasurer of that board. I've been an active volunteer in the Beach Coalition with the Pacifica Resource Center, and I'm currently on leave of absence from the Pacifica Resource Center. I raised 2 children here who attended Pacifica schools. I was a parent volunteer throughout their educational time in the Pacifica School District. My elderly mother moved here in 2005 to be closer to my family, and I am her advocate and helper in life. Pacifica is not just a place where I live. Pacifica is home to my family and to me. Professionally, I've been involved in technical sales and business management for the last 30 years. I have been involved in budgeting, facilities management, and strategic planning. I'm known as an analytical and critical thinker, a troubleshooter, and a collaborative solution finder. I currently work in a role that supports the essential food processing industry. So as such, I have continued to work through the pandemic as an essential worker. Through my career experience, I understand how your food and beverages get processed and packaged, how your drinking water is brought to your home, how the recycle yard processes our trash, and how a sewer system processes our sewage. I have a working knowledge of large capital project management. So why am I running? I want to provide balance on the council, and I agree in many ways with kind of the feel I've gotten from watching city council meetings as well. And I want to make sure that everyone's views and values are represented. I want to give back to the community where I've enjoyed living for 35 years, strongly in favor of fiscal responsibility. I have a degree in business management and training in nonprofit management. And as such, I understand how the city works with nonprofits such as the Pacifica Resource Center and the Pacifica Beach Coalition to provide.
Time is up.
Thank you. I was waiting for my 1 minute warning. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said it, yeah, but I don't think you heard me. Sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, Marge. So we'll
Thanks.
do our question round, and with this format, what we do is each candidate is going to have an opportunity to be first at answering a question, and hopefully an opportunity as last as well. Okay, so it's a we go round robin. So let's start out as we began, and we'll let's see here. Let's start out with Sue. And the question is, and all questions, I want you to know, all questions are candidate directed. Nothing is specific to an individual candidate. It's a question that will be, and questions that are fielded in chat, we request that they not be candidate specific. It is to be a question that will be addressed by all candidates, okay?
And how long will they have to answer?
They have 2 minutes. You will have 2 minutes, okay? And at the end, we'll get through as many questions as we can. When we're pushing up against the clock, we want to give you at least 2 minutes to wrap up, okay? And maybe 3, depending on where we are on time, okay? First question, and we'll start with Sue Waterloss. Current controversial issue, really controversial, RV parking. Where do you stand?
RV parking. I've stood up many times against the RVs parking all over our streets. We've tried to come up with solutions. Personally, my suggestion was the RV park. At the time, there were 5 spaces available in the RV park, and that allows the RVs to dump sewage, have electricity, have water, have garbage, and laundry facilities. To me, that was the perfect solution to housing them. We are paying now, and it's not that expensive to house people in the RV park versus housing some homeless people that are in hotels. There are an enormous amount of RVs. We have put up signs now for oversized parking and on streets with bike lanes, such as Terra Nova and Odstead. Those are going to be repaved and have bike lanes. They will be too narrow for the RVs. The RVs are a safety issue because, such as parking on Oceana, they park at the curve, and buses and cars come along and don't allow sorry, my screen went off. And they don't allow cars to pass freely. You have to go out of the lane and around. So soon that situation will be helped. But they just, a lot of them just moved.
It only goes up backwards.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, and then we'll move over then to Mike Cohen. Michael?
Yeah, so I mean, I am the only candidate in this race who has clearly and vigorously come out against all of these proposals that have been bouncing around the city council over the last almost 3 years. The fact of the matter is Pacifica does not have the funds. We do not have the available land to properly implement a real safe parking program. And I have been maligned for my position on this in various places by people sort of accusing me of lacking empathy or not having compassion. And my argument to them is, look, letting these people remain in RVs with no electricity, no running water, no sewage is not compassionate. That is not a compassionate solution for them. And it is ignoring the expressed wishes of the residents who have real safety concerns and real concerns about sanitation and real concerns about what this look is going to have, what is it is going to do to our town. It is going to depress property values, which is 50% of the city's budget, close to. So there all these follow-on effects of letting this problem metastasize the way it has over the past few years. And folks on the council, not Sue Vaterlaus, not Sue Beckmeyer, have been determined to ignore the express desires of residents. And I aim to stop that.
Thank you, Michael. Tiger, your thoughts?
Thank you very much. I'll be happy to give you my thoughts. And Mike, I'm sorry you were maligned for your viewpoint. That sounds very hard on you. You know, I think this is a decided issue at this point. Personally, I haven't had a particular bone in the fight. I have neighbors who have had RVs on my street of Banyan where there are very few bikes who come by. So childhood neighbors, at the end of the day, it is a safety issue. And if a bike does come by, then that needs to be addressed. But the homeless thing is the point here that has brought all the hoopla. And from my viewpoint as somebody who does listen to the community, and the vast majority of my community, at least in my district, absolutely wants RVs off the side of the road. The reality is, from my perspective, and as somebody who understands how services work after working for 5 years with the Resource Center, is that if you connect people to services, that's how they're able to get dumps, that's how they're able to get connected to utilities. But at the end of the day, in the interest of my community, that's how people quickly get off the street. The PRC has housed 4 families at least since the COVID time has begun. And, you know, I don't know if that's not quick enough for some people, but that's the reality of how services connect people to stable housing. And from my viewpoint, now that we're implementing the law, now that the ordinance is in, the roads are being paved, the bike paths are being put in, people are being ushered out. Thank goodness for the sake of the well-being and state of mind of my community, for the property values. Those who persist in their 72-hour rotation in those very few neighborhoods now where it's the only place they think at least they can go. What occurs to me is that would have been the quickest way to get them to stable housing. And my concern now is I'm not sure how they're going to get off the road, but I'm with you. If it's about paving more, we'll do what we need to in order to make sure that the community at large is satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiger. Marge, your thoughts?
Thank you. I agree. This is a very complex issue, and I think the underlying theme that I've heard is that people want to feel safe. And I have been listening, and I would like to just state that I have never thought that the solution to this issue was unsafe parking of large, oversized vehicles, including RVs, on our residential streets. And the ordinance addresses that. And I also understand that there's not going to be a safe parking program. It's my understanding that the city manager is going to be looking into some of the spaces at the RV park, as Sue mentioned. I think Sue's original idea, that was a great idea, but it needs to be an idea that is financial and practical and feasible. It's not just about what we want to do, but what we can do and what we need to do. And I do think it goes to the greater issue, even if the RV parking has been solved, that we do have people in this community who need a hand up. I would encourage the continued work of the city and the Pacifica Resource Center to help those people find permanent housing. And in this time of the pandemic, it's in everybody's best interest for that to happen, including for public health and safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Marge. Okay. Well, we'll begin our question.
Can we have a quick follow-up, round-robin follow-up again? Because this is such an important issue. If the other candidates agree, maybe 1 minute per candidate?
We have this timed out, Mike. Okay, so we have to move on to another question. If you think you need to follow up, that's what your 2 to 3 minutes at the end will be. Okay. Okay, so the next question we'll have, then Michael, we'll have you start. Please share your understanding of rent control and rent control moratoriums.
Yeah, Great question. Yet another issue which distinguishes the candidates in this race, I believe. So rent control was put to the voters in this town and they said no to it. That was Measure C, I believe. And for good reason, I might add. And I might also add, in particular in District 4, rent control went down 70 to 30. 70% voted down rent control in District 4. And you can go online and see Marge's campaign manager touting that she is the only real progressive candidate in this race because she is the only candidate who supported Measure C in favor of rent control. And rent control is one of the few issues that economists across the board, regardless of their political persuasion, almost unanimously agree rent control is not effective. It does not work. It has the perverse consequences of actually reducing housing supply on the market, but it also suppresses new construction and it forces rental units off the market. Okay, and Marge is aligned with this block of very active, but I would say radical leftists, political, the Pacifica progressives, who are not rational about these kinds of issues. They are the same block of people who pushed the RV parking on the community. And they will do the same thing if they can with rent control. We have to do something to build out more affordable housing, but rent control is not the answer.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And then Tiger, would you share your thoughts, please?
Oh, thank you.
Or your understanding, I should say.
So, yeah, I was on the rent advisory task force when Measure C came down the pike, and we were having a good discussion coming up with solutions that might have actually helped renters when our process was undermined. I was incensed by the Measure C, not because I was adverse to rent control at the time, because the way that the city council people handled that at the time, I thought put the most vulnerable Pacificans, whom I felt like I was tasked to help as a PRC board member, were put much more in danger. In fact, to the point that their rents were raised exorbitantly, that some people got pushed out of town. And I did not understand how the council members at the time did not understand that their actions had consequences that were harmful to people and that they seemed to take no steps to help those people to be protected when supposedly they were trying to protect them. It actually made me want to run, because as far as I'm concerned, any issue that has that grand an impact on our community needs to begin with community conversation rather than a bygone conclusion from a small majority on council. That being said, in my time as a planning commissioner, there was a 170 unit property up in the Fairmont district that came before us. We were put in kind of this really uncomfortable position of kind of having to be a rent control board for that property. It's an inarticulate way of putting it, but that's more or less how it worked out. And as somebody in that place, I did what I could to minimize the amount that rent could be brought up, especially because of the conditions the folks there were living in. So I have a record of trying to help people where I can is my bottom line. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tiger. Marge Davis.
Thank you.
Your understanding.
So I'd just like to, so my understanding on rent control is that it is a state law that was passed by Governor Newsom this year. And control actually is part of my understanding, the Democratic platform. I wanted to thank Mike for enlightening me as to where he's getting his information about me, since he hasn't met me. But I would encourage you, Mike, to reach out to me to ask for my views. I'm an independent thinker and a leader. I am not a group follower or a group thinker. And I'd like to share just something personal about Measure C. My son and his then fiance were living in the building on Talbot, where they arbitrarily increased the rents during the delay given before the potential rent control might go into effect in Pacifica. And they raised everyone's rent to $2,200 a month. Some of those people for some people, that was double. The rents had not been raised since they'd moved in. My daughter-in-law spoke at city council. She put signs in her window. I frankly was a little appalled that the vote that could have shifted that, who my son was in school with that person's son, didn't. We were very passionate about this, and I voted yes on Measure C. Well, I was in favor of rent control. It was a confusing, which way you were to vote, but I was absolutely in favor of rent control, and I'm glad that the state of California took it upon themselves to take care of that for us.
Okay. Well, Sue Vaterlosh, you have the opportunity to chime in last on this. What is your understanding of rent control?
Rent control doesn't work. Look at San Francisco. San Francisco has the most stringent rent control of anyone, and they have the highest rents in the nation. There are consequences to rent control. When it was brought up in Pacifica, the unintended consequence was the Talbot apartments. Those people were paying very low rents, and that landlord was upset because he said, oh, you're going to only allow me 3% raises, I'm going to raise everybody's rent. It was an unfortunate consequence. It was terrible what happened to those people. The rent control now is actually very reasonable from the state. I do property management, and I've never raised anyone's rent more than 10%. And that particular person lived in a 5-bedroom house for $2,000, and we raised them 10% because they hadn't been raised in over 10 years. There are many, many reasons why it doesn't work. There are people who live in homes that are paying, say, $800 on rent control when actually they're making $200,000 a year. It's not based on your income. It's not means tested. And those people will stay in that place forever. They may not even live there. They might have gone out and purchased something else, but still stay under rent control and let other people stay there. That means that the other people who are now coming in later are going to pay more to make up the difference. It doesn't allow people to complete their work on their buildings because there's not enough income. This is mainly a large San Francisco issue. There are 30,000 vacant units because of rent. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sue. Okay. Next question. Okay. What are your goals for supporting local business? And there's an add-on to that, and that is, how should we as a community support our local businesses? Your goals and what you can recommend for us as citizens. And we'll start then with Tiger.
Much. My goals for supporting local business. So I go to local businesses first and foremost. I'm a regular at the Trip Distillery, and I'm a regular at the Pedro Point Brewery. And I was a little put off by the way the city handled both those businesses, not because I don't have every faith in Chief Steidel, because my understanding was the rest of San Mateo County handled how they allowed businesses to run a little differently than we did. And personally, I would want to make sure that Pacifica is on the same page with optimizing and maximizing businesses being allowed to run in alignment with the way the rest of the region is doing that. As a frontline worker, not to the detriment of anyone's safety, but to the benefit of those businesses when it can be done safely. So my goals for supporting local businesses are getting every business up and running to the best of our ability and making sure that the city is well focused on supporting those businesses and getting up and running once COVID time has passed. It's concerning to me that we're going into the wintertime season and those restaurants that are able to right now function outside may not be able to do that when the rains come. And we need to find those dynamic solutions that will enable us to support our local businesses. I shop local and encourage everyone else to. And on the city, I want to work with the business development task force to make sure that businesses are up and running. Business development committee, excuse me. Thank you.
Okay.
Economic development committee. Got it. Pardon my brain.
Thank you. I've been asking that all morning, Tiger. Okay, for me. Anyway, Marge, your thoughts on this? And that is, what are your goals for supporting local businesses? How should we as a community support our local businesses?
So for me personally, I do also support many local businesses as well as many health and bodywork type providers. I've always tried to find someone local when I need services. But particularly as a small community, I really think we rely on our small businesses. We can't draw big businesses here, and we rely on them to provide us with our goods and services and the sense of community that makes Pacifica special. And the city also depends on our businesses for a portion of its revenues. So but also as importantly, as we're coming out of the pandemic, we need to frequent and support these small businesses through our patronage. Additionally, we need to be aware and knowledgeable and take advantage of any and all assistance we can garner for our small businesses, those in need in the city as we come out of the pandemic. There will be plans and programs in place to help, and we need to be aggressive in asking and securing the assistance we need to keep businesses and our community healthy and strong as we continue through and emerge from the pandemic. And I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. And then we'll go to, so we go to Sue then? Yeah, we go to Sue.
Okay. I agree. Bringing back the businesses, and I stated that in the very beginning, is really important. We have been actually doing very well in this county and hope on Tuesday to move into the red instead of moving into the staying in the purple. That will allow some of our businesses to open. There's something called Great Plates, which the county has, which we have taken advantage of in Pacifica. People elderly who are not getting other services have been getting meals, 3 meals a day from local restaurants. It's a huge win-win for both sides because people who needed food got food, and restaurants who needed business got business. And it's one of the best county programs yet. We also have San Mateo County Strong, and Pacifica donated money specifically to San Mateo County Strong for Pacifica businesses who could apply for grants. I don't go out as much as I probably could to the local businesses, but I always shop local. I buy my gas here, even though it's more expensive than over the hill, because I believe that we need to support our businesses. They are the lifeblood of Pacifica. They're the most important things we have, the people and the small business. It's very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Mike.
Yeah, so the first thing that we can do to support small businesses is have some sensible actions from city council. So just as an example, we need to be consistent when we do things like close the beach. Closing the beach and not enforcing the parking there doesn't help anybody. Our local businesses lose the business, right? But we fail to keep people off of the beach, right? If we're worried about the health effects. So there's that. I've spoken with Sue Beckmeyer, who is doing lots of work with this on the Economic Development Committee. And she has a lot of great ideas. I really look forward to working with her on those. Sort of innovative thinking around things like trying to do art walks. I know Mike O'Neill has spent a lot of time thinking about this as well. The other thing that council can do is not get distracted with these sideshows for 3 years like RVs. That also will feed into helping our small businesses because it is not a good look to have all of these RVs all over the place. Pacifica has really very few options for building out our revenue base. Property taxes is the largest bucket in that regard for the budget. And then after that, we really have no choice but to develop a tourist economy, something like becoming a small scale version of Santa Cruz. And again, having the RVs strewn all over town is not helping us in that regard. Finally, if I'm elected to the council, I will immediately move to create a small business advisory committee.
Time is up, Mike. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry there. Okay, we're moving on to an explosive topic, fireworks. Should safe and sane sales continue? How to control illegal fireworks. And we will start with Marge.
Yes, Marge gets to go first this time. Yes. So this is, my kids were in AYSO and Little League and various other youth athletic programs. And I understand that Safe and Sane Fireworks support that. But I also think in the current, with the wildfires and the fact that we're one of 2 cities still allowing safe and sane fireworks in the entire county, I really think it may be time to revisit this. And I know that there are other ways to fundraise. Obviously, the other 18 cities in the county are not having youth athletic programs. So my suggestion would be to give maybe, some time frame, 1 or 2 years maybe, for the local organizations to get their hands around another way to fundraise. I would encourage them to network with other cities who are fundraising through other things. Personally, my preference, I say let them sell chocolate. I think a lot of women would like that. Sorry, not trying to be gender specific, but I really think there are other ways. There are other ways to fundraise, and with the issues with the environment and fire and climate change and the noise pollution, I really think it's time to look at this. But thank you.
Okay, then we'll go on to Sue. Okay. And I'll read it again. Okay.
Thank you.
Should
the city of Pacifica, what?
Fireworks, basically, should safe and sane sales continue, and how to control illegal fireworks? Any suggestions?
Okay. The city of Pacifica has voted twice to keep safe and sane fireworks in elections. I voted yes to keep safe and sane because of several issues. One, the police and fire will have to remain and do overtime. It's about $38,000 for their overtime. That gets paid by the booths. Each booth, about 14 booths, make about $12,000 each selling safe and sane fireworks. So if I've agreed that if they can come up with a solution to pay those costs, that I will agree to say no safe and sane. But recently I've been thinking about the fact that the illegal fireworks are everywhere. And if we don't have safe and sane, are people going to continue to buy, but more illegal fireworks. The illegal fireworks are, just like it says, illegal. And I believe that those are the fireworks that cause the fires that we've had, the small fires. Luckily, we've never had any major fires, and a lot of it is garbage cans, et cetera. And this year we did have a fire, but it was done by illegal fireworks, not the Safe and Sanes. I've talked to the mayor of San Bruno many times, back and forth, about the fireworks. And I have agreed, like I said, if they can come up with a solution in the next 5 years, I will totally agree to vote against the Safe and Sane. Thank you.
Okay. And then Mike, you have the, could you weigh in on this, please?
Sure. So I agree with pretty much everything Sue said, just said there. I do think the Safe and Sane fireworks are not really the problem. I think one thing that we could do is we could ask the leaders of these groups, the nonprofits who are selling those fireworks, to just speak out a bit more about safety. But I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is folks, going over to Nevada and getting the big stuff, right? The illegal stuff is the problem. And enforcement of all of this stuff is difficult. It really is, because, just the nature of the problem. I think one thing we could do is create a hotline that people could call into, and, we would have to work closely with PPD on that. And then
1 minute.
Yeah, and then also the other thing that I would immediately look to push for if I was elected to the council is a fire break in the hills around Park Pacifica and Lindemar. We need that regardless of the fireworks issue, but that sort of they're quite related, actually. So I would immediately work with county officials and GGNRA to create a fire break in the hills, and that will not cost the city anything. The county and the state will pay for that. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think that I don't think the Safe and Sane is the problem. It's the illegal stuff, and we just need to work closely with PPD to see how we can beef up enforcement of that.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And Tiger.
Thank you very much. And if having a fire break paid for by state is feasible, I think that's a brilliant idea. In terms of hotlines, especially around 4th of July time, PPD has certainly advocated for hotlines and also apps to be used to contact them regarding illegal fireworks, and it hasn't had quite the impact we would like. The San Mateo County Civil Grand Jury found that Safe and Sane fireworks should cease in Pacifica and San Bruno. I have very fond childhood memories of lighting fireworks off with my family, and it's sad to me to say that I'm in favor of losing that experience for other youngsters. But on the other hand, as an adult now, and especially, watching apocalypse level skies befall us because of the fires going on everywhere because of climate change, it seems to me that when the Civil Grand Jury of San Mateo County suggests that perhaps we should put a kibosh on Safe and Sane, we should listen to that. That being said, the point is well taken, as Sue Vaterlaus had said, that, well, we need to pay for the activities of the kids, and we need to pay for the overtime for PPD and the fire department. So what if we attempted a fundraising task force? We've had lots of fireworks task forces over the years with not the best results. Maybe it's time we have a task force specifically related to finding ways to raise those funds needed for the community organizations.
30 seconds.
Thank you very much, and for the resources. That, and from an environmental perspective, again, I referred to apocalypse level skies. Those fireworks contribute to greenhouse. That's plastic that winds up in the ocean as well as landfills. And it's really hard to reconcile my love and the youth of fireworks with my adulthood wanting to put an end to big time problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiger. Okay. Okay, moving on to question 5. Would you please share your opinion regarding state, county, and local government restrictions imposed on local businesses due to the current health crisis? Okay, and I guess we'll start, this time we start with, oh gosh, I'm off here. I believe it's at Mike now again. It's at Mike, I think. You started the left. No? You know what happened is somehow the pictures changed, okay? We started with Marge last time.
I started last time, yeah.
Last time. Okay, then it is Sue starting this time.
Tiger, have you started one yet? Tiger?
I believe I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to skip you. Okay, so I'm sorry, Susan. Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. It's basically your position on closing businesses due to COVID, your opinion on state, county, and local government restrictions imposed on local businesses due to the current health crisis.
Okay, I can see why they closed businesses. We were originally under the county rules, and the county always determined what we did. We moved now to the state rules. So everything that the state says is what we follow. Some of it I don't understand at all. Even our county health official doesn't understand why, if I need my nails to be done, and certain people need their nails and their toenails to be done for health reasons, and they are not allowed to be open. I can be one-on-one with a person fully protected, but they are not allowed to be open. Yet I can go to a grocery store to get groceries where there are 100 people there. This is Pacifica. You know, the idea of sitting outside with our local businesses, I'm looking out the window right now, and I do live in the north end, and I see fog. A hairdresser can't sit outside in the fog. A nail person can't sit outside in the fog. And how hard would it be to eat your dinner when the wind is blowing and it's foggy and it's dripping on you? I'm hoping, like I said, that we move into the red and more of our businesses will be allowed to open. We are doing quite well with our COVID testing. That's really important. If everybody could get out there and get tested. The number of tests help us because most of the tests will be negative and they help our percentage rate. So thereby helping our small business, and hopefully we can get more small business open. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. Mike Cohen.
Yeah, so we have seen that COVID is highly regional, right? We saw it in the way it moved through this country, first in New York and other areas, and then, you know, sort of the red states hit last. And then even if you focus down more narrowly than that, you see, again, it is still highly regional. In California, most of the cases were down in Southern California for a long time. If you zoom in even closer on the map, highly regional. Pacifica's numbers are better than San Mateo County's, right? We are pretty good. Unfortunately, as Sue said, we have been hamstrung, so to speak, by being under the regulations, under the mandates of the county and the state. And COVID is likely to not go away for perhaps several years. You know, there's already talk of a vaccine, but I would not put much faith in a vaccine coming to fruition that is widely available and safe for some time to come. And so things are likely to change quite significantly in the next year and even beyond that. And so as far as Pacifica coming out of this pandemic, one of the things that we may very well have to do is get out from under the mandates and the decrees of the state and the county and come up with a much more localized solution, because COVID is very localized like that. And I would just say that to do that, that is going to take us working with officials at the state and county level. Jerry Hill, Kevin Mullen, our assemblyman, those folks endorsed me in this race. I am the person they want to work with. That's what those endorsements represent. They believe I am the person who can work
your time
represent Pacifica at that point.
Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. I got a time there. Tiger, would you please? Did you want me to read the question again, or?
Sure, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay. It's your position on closing businesses due to COVID, your opinion on state, county, and local government restrictions imposed on local businesses due to the current health crisis.
Thank you very much. I would echo most of Sue Vaterlaus's statement. I think she was spot on. It's difficult when the regulations come from the state, and it's even more difficult when the regulations change regularly. I was confused a moment ago how there seemed to be a disparity in the idea that we need to localize our approach, but we're working with state officials to localize our approach with the state officials who are presumably creating the, anyway. So my perspective is as a Safeway employee. I'm on the front line every day. And again, you know, I like going to the local businesses. I go to the Pacifica Brewery regularly and support local whenever possible. For me, it's difficult because my observation, being stuck in a check stand at least 40 hours a week, if not, you know, at the beginning of COVID, it was 16-hour days as we were trying to get everything together. I get to watch every weekend as people flood our beaches, which if it wasn't COVID time, that would be amazing for our economy and I'd be all for it. As a frontline employee who is deeply concerned about the safety of, you know, probably the 100 people I work amongst and our families every day, the challenge is that a lot of people are coming from the outside. And I got to tell you, not all of them are big fans of wearing masks when they enter the store. Mm-hmm. It almost feels like I have to play police officer on occasion to get people out of my store who seem to be trying to, you know, at a casual glance, kill us all. So that's the real world, very difficult disparity. And on the one hand, I wish the state would be very clear and consistent about the regulations. But on the other hand, I feel a need to protect the workers first and then see what we can do about opening up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Marge, you got the opportunity to chime in last on this one.
Thank you. And, you know, everyone said it. This is really, this is something that's being controlled by the county and the state. I do think that everybody needs to be wearing masks. I would, in terms of the regionalness of this, I'm here to tell you as an essential worker who has been out to food plants across the bay in Oakland, in Guadalupe, Santa Maria, that people are taking this very, very seriously. And these are places I would normally be welcome as a vendor and as a technical support person that they need on a critical nature. I am still being welcomed, but they are being extremely careful. This is something that we all need to be really careful with. And I would agree with, again, with Tiger around the mask wearing. And also, you know, what about some maybe local testing for our population, including our children? I know testing is pretty widely available. And if we could set something up like that here in Pacifica, I think that'd be great, particularly, like I said, if it could be at no charge. And I know they have something going down in Half Moon Bay for local testing. So yeah, it's a serious and a very tough issue. And every day about the pandemic is the first day of that experience for all of us here in the US, globally. It's a tough one.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay, so we have our next question is, how will you balance your responsibilities to the city of Pacifica overall with your responsibility to your district? Okay, and what, Sue started last? Was it Sue? Now I'm up here. You started last. Okay, then Mike, you are able to start first on this one.
Yeah, great question. So being as these are the first elections that are district-based, this is a new thing for Pacifica. And in this District 4 race, we will be sent to the council only by residents of District 4. Though once we're on the council, we represent the entire city. And I don't think anyone running in this race doesn't understand that fact and doesn't think that in order to be effective, you will have to work with other council members and you will have to gather the support of the entire community. I guess the one thing I would say in that regard is that if you go back to the RVs issue, that is instructive to see how the candidates in this race, how they might listen to members of the community. Again, I will state that I am the only candidate in this race that has unequivocally come out against parking RVs in our neighborhoods, in church parking lots, in neighbors' driveways, in any form at all. Both of the other candidates, Marge and Tiger, they are on the board of the PRC. They were on board with all of this as it has gone through the council for 2 to 3 years now. That is their block of constituents. That is the people who are supporting them and their candidacy. And they did not listen to the residents of this community and the PRC, to a large extent, and folks on the council who have endorsed Marge, by the way, did not listen to members of the community throughout this ordeal. So I think, don't look at what we say, look at what we do if you're a voter. And you can see how the people who are endorsing Marge, how they have behaved on the council up to this point.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And Tiger, would you like me to read the question again, or?
I believe the question was, how do I balance the needs of the city against the needs of the district?
That's correct.
Thank you. I'll go from there. Because Mike seems so obsessed with the RV situation, which council has bent over backwards to literally, as Mr. Mike O'Neill stated this week, put a fork in it. I don't mind that you care that deeply about what happens with the RVs. Just to be very clear, the PRC was taking the direction of the city council. That has been the PRC's role in this entire process. We tried to have a community-based discussion that was undermined by some internet troll who brought people to those discussions, who pulled fire alarms to stop them. And so there's been a campaign of intimidation against people in this community trying to find solutions, including people who have been vehemently against the RVs from the beginning. And as far as the PRC's role is concerned, and I am proud of the work the PRC does, they have been taking their cues from council. And that's what that relationship has looked like. That aside, locally, RVs and antennas have absolutely been big issues in my district, the cell phone antennas. These are also going to be big issues in the entire city. And so far, I haven't come across an issue in our district that can't be translated into a city-wide issue. When it comes to finding a way to fix a pothole in my district, well, that's an issue that goes through the entire city. And I'm somebody who notoriously thinks in terms of specifically the viewpoints of every person who, has a view in this city. I don't go along with groups. I'm not a member of the PPA. I'm not a member of the RV Club. I'm not a member of SAMCAR. I'm somebody who listens to what everyone has to say and tries to find solutions that are mutually beneficial from there. And that's what I look forward to doing when I'm on council representing the entire community. Thank you.
Okay. And then Marge, you have the opportunity to, Sue will be last on this one. Okay.
Unmute. So, yeah, and I've been giving this one some thought, and, there are some hot topics back here. I'm going to just coattail on what Tiger said about the RV issue. And I do think that the 5G is a hot issue back here. But as he said, it's going to, any issue, it might start with a higher priority in a particular district, but it's going to impact all of Pacifica at some point. If 5G goes in Lindemar, it may go in other places. So I'm going to promote District 4 first. But I love all of Pacifica and will help every resident whatever way I can, particularly, as I mentioned before, the advocacy around the free COVID testing for children. I would like to mention I am the only candidate who is endorsed by the San Mateo County Democratic Central Committee and the Sierra Club. And in particular, I think that while I'm here to represent the concerns and the values and views of District 4, and I'm being elected by District 4, and I appreciate that, by the way, I am a person who listens. Again, I've said before, I'm not groupthink. I think outside the box. I gather information, try and remain compassionate, rational, and come up with a solution. I'm data-driven. So I'm going to first and foremost, lead with District 4, but represent the community in the city that I live in and love and have for 35 years. Thank you.
Okay. And then Sue.
I've lived in Pacifica since 1979. I've been heavily involved in volunteer positions throughout Pacifica. The new district elections, I will be elected by District 1. District 1 notoriously does not vote. They have not run in elections, except for me and one other person. And now we have a second person, a person running against me. But first of all, I'd like to get the district involved and more involved and let us know what their issues are and try to get out the vote for this district, because it's only about a third of the registered voters that actually voted in the last presidential election. And voting is so important. Census is important. There are so many citywide, but also district issues that are involved in this coming election. And experience. I will say that I have obviously the most experience in this district as far as the whole city is concerned. I was on planning and economic development and on the council, and I have worked very well with the county. I have endorsements from most mayors, and I just think that I would be representative of my district and Pacifica. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. And before we're going to be asking you to do your wrap up, today, and you will have, excuse me.
Do we have time for a couple of audience questions?
Well, we're at 11:12. Or if we plan on going to 11:30, then that would be, seems like.
Yeah, we've had just a few. I thought it would be good to bring a couple up.
Okay.
The first one, it's come up a couple of times, is where do the candidates stand on development of the quarry?
Okay. And then so we'll start then with the next, because you start, is it?
It's probably Tiger's turn to go
Tiger,
first.
I beg your pardon, Tiger.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
So in terms of the development of the quarry, I think that if Pacifica is serious about wanting to bring business in, that's probably the prime location to do it. The owner is right now deciding whether or not they wish to turn it into a wetland mitigation bank or develop it once the new general plan update has gone through as visitors serving use. I'm hoping it works out as visitors serving use from the perspective of somebody who would like to see tax revenue come in a lot more strongly so that we can get roads fixed. That being said, I can't help but acknowledge that the quarry is one of the single most contested pieces of property in Pacifica. And at the end of the day, I don't know that I'm willing to pick that huge fight with the entire community if the entire community decides that they're against that idea, though I think it is our best bet and opportunity for getting tax revenue in.
1 minute.
I'm more focused on the Sharp Park district, especially Palmetto, as being a main street where, it's where we've been putting all the planning in and where we've been investing money in the infrastructure. And I think that's where more sensibly we can point there and say that's where we can attract business easily and with consensus of community. But if the community is willing to go along with the premise that the quarry is a great place to put in some business and boost the tax revenue, it would be great to see places like Rockaway Boulevard, have a road. And that's where I'm at currently. Thank you.
Okay. And then Marge.
So the quarry years ago, we went through this. It was a very hot topic. It's a very, again, hot issue. And I believe that it should really be decided by a vote of the people, and that nothing should be done without a vote of the people. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then Sue.
Sorry. I was on the quarry committee when Don Peebles brought forward his plan. I thought he had a great plan for the quarry. The last project that came forward, I did not vote for. It is our last large parcel that we have. The regional housing allocation numbers are going to be very high. They were 413 for the last 5 years, and we built 67 units of housing. The quarry project would allow for affordable housing. The original Peebles project had winding streets, which is a safety issue. People could, if there were problems on Highway 1, people could drive through the quarry and get out. So there were a lot of issues involved in the quarry itself. I bring it up all the time, even though I know it's a contentious issue, because I'm still in favor of developing the quarry. It does have to go to a vote if there's one house in there, one housing element at all. So right now that's the way it is, and it would go to a vote. It was very close with Peebles. It was about 230 votes off. And I think if he would have gone through, the city would have been in a much better position because it was a destination location, and Pacifica needs to be a destination. And I believe that that's our last available land to make us a destination. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Mike.
Yeah, so it's in the hands of the developer right now. Between the developer and the city currently. And if anything beyond that is going to happen there, it's got to go to a vote. So I don't know that the quarry is really a hot topic. It has been in the past, but I don't think it is for this election. Tiger mentioned it as the prime location, I think he said, for economic development. I would disagree with that. I think he did sort of otherwise state that Sharp Park is really going to be the focus for economic development. I absolutely agree with that. That will take a new seawall being built. The one we have is falling apart. we need a 50-year seawall with increased height. That will take a hellacious battle with the California Coastal Commission, which I do not believe Marge Davis is going to be willing to pursue. If you want any kind of real development in Sharp Park, specifically on the former wastewater treatment site or a new library project, those projects are likely to be predicated on strengthening and probably building a new seawall in Sharp Park. So I don't really see the quarry as having any kind of movement in the foreseeable future. And I would just point out that to make all of that development happen, you need people to build things. San Mateo County Labor Council endorsed me. That is all of the major labor unions in town. They think I am the best person to put on the council to make this kind of development happen.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, I would like to propose a question to each of the candidates, and that would be your position on managed retreat. Okay, and I believe we're starting out with Marge.
You're muted, Marge.
You're on mute, Marge. You're on.
I was saying, I thought we were going Sue, then alphabetical, so I expected Mike to get to go next. I don't think it's my turn to go first.
Okay,
you're actually second. Mike is already gone.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, not on managed retreat. Yeah, okay, I think it's Mike's turn to go first.
Okay, yeah. Who started? Who was first on the last question?
Tiger.
And it's you.
Yes. So,
Marge. Yeah.
So I'm next. Okay. So, managed retreat is a term that's been thrown around, and so as I understand it, it has to do with sea level rise. Mike already mentioned the seawall. My understanding is that there is a local coastal plan that is with the Coastal Commission, as you know, currently for approval and or collaboration negotiation. I take a little exception. You know, Mike said a lot, brought my name up a lot today. I should feel kind of flattered, I guess. But I take a little exception to the fact that he says, I won't fight the Coastal Commission on the seawall. I understand the situation with the seawall, that the architecture of the north side of the pier is different than the south side of the pier, and that there are plans to repair and rebuild that. And I think it would be unconscionable to think that someone would say no to rebuilding the protection that is in place down there for the infrastructure, the water lines, the electrical lines, the sewer lines, the homes and the businesses that are down there. And I want to make sure unequivocally that people understand that I do not oppose the seawall. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marge. Sue.
Sorry. I definitely am not in favor of managed retreat. I agree with Marge Davis that seawall is an important factor. We have our local coastal program with sea level rise submitted to the Coastal Commission right now. And that's one of the reasons I'm running, because I want to see that through to the end. We worked on it for many, many years. The area of managed retreat is where we have small homes, businesses, hotels. A huge portion of our affordable housing is where the managed retreat would happen. I am 100% not in favor of managed retreat. That is why I was not endorsed by the Democratic Central Committee, because I am not in favor of managed retreat. I think there are better solutions. The whole city will have to be involved. We got an initial grant to replace the seawall, but we will not have the funds as a city to replace the wall. The whole city is involved in that. It affects everyone, and not just the people who live by the ocean. And it's a huge factor, and it's going to be a huge problem in the city. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Mike Cohen.
Yeah, so I mean, I just want to be upfront here, and that's why I'm sort of calling Marge out a lot today. I see her campaign manager, Peter Loeb, is in attendance. And anyone who has been involved in Pacifica politics for any period of time knows what that block of Pacifica residents are about. They are more or less in favor of managed retreat. They are not going to go to battle with the Coastal Commission. It's great to hear that Marge supports the seawall. I would have liked to have seen a little more vigor on our website, be a little more upfront about the seawall. You can go to Tiger's website and see that he's absolutely in favor of the seawall. That's great. We absolutely need to build a new seawall. And we absolutely are going to have to fight the Coastal Commission against managed retreat in other areas beyond the seawall. As Sue Vaterlas pointed out, she did not get the San Mateo County Dem endorsement partially because of her opposition to managed retreat. Likewise, I did not get that endorsement either. I also didn't get the Sierra Club endorsement. I got an email sent to me soliciting an interview for the Sierra Club from John Keener. Again, same block of folks with Peter Loeb and Marge who are going to be more or less in favor of managed retreat. They are not going to want to fight the California Coastal Commission. To do that, you're going to have friends in higher places than Pacifica. Friends like Jerry Hill, friends like Kevin Mullen, people who have endorsed me, people who can help us negotiate with the Coastal Commission against managed retreat.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, Tiger, you get the opportunity to weigh in last on this, okay?
Wonderful. And it's nice that I found something that Mike and I can agree on. I am absolutely ready to fight tooth and nail to ensure that we have a seawall north of the pier. And, you know, I talked about my childhood reminiscing in terms of fireworks earlier. Well, if I recall correctly, and I was 2 years old at the time, my first home in Pacifica, I lived on Santa Rosa, and my mom would walk me down to the pier. And, you know, that's a place where I don't mind bringing my sentimentality into this fight. When I say I want a seawall, I mean I want to protect my home, the earliest remembrance I have of a home. And I'll tell you, Robin Runils is a friend of mine, and she's endorsing me. And she is somebody who's been kind enough to knock on doors with me. And the reason is the moment she knew how much I wanted to get that seawall up, she was happy to throw her weight behind my candidacy. Seawall aside, the question of managed retreat, I think, is partly answered by the seawall, because if we have that seawall, hopefully that would take away any more question of managed retreat. But I'll tell you, as a planning commissioner who has had a hand and a voice in working on the local coastal land use update, I was there to actively seek no language of managed retreat whatsoever in that document. And furthermore, my understanding from city staff is that they're working on a fairly robust transfer of development rights program so that if and when there should ever be an issue, there will be proper incentivizing happening so that folks will be able to find their way smoothly with full financial resource at their disposal, and will never need to mention managed retreat again. Folks will be able to do it in a smooth way on their own time. We pray not on Mother Nature's time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we need to go into our summary statements here. But I would like before that to let everyone know that every candidate was given a formal invitation, okay? I believe they're formally and personally by me. I reached out to every candidate and personally to invite them. One candidate just declined to really respond, and that was Myra Espinoza. for District 1. Okay, but I wanted to reassure everyone that she was invited. Okay, so from there, we will begin then with Mike. I believe now it is, who was, who was last? Who started? You were like, okay, Marge, then you're first for your candidate rep. Okay.
Sorry, what's the order?
Yeah, I'm confused too. I started on the last question. I was first.
You were first on the last question?
On managed retreat, yep.
Okay, then I beg your pardon, Marge. Then if Sue Vardalos, would you please give your, I guess, let me check here. It'll be 2 minutes each. Yeah.
Okay. I've lived in Pacifica since 1979. I raised my kids here. I love Pacifica. I started when my kids went to school. I was Girl Scout leader, Boy Scout leader. Like I said, I've been on so many committees in the city of Pacifica: Economic Development, Financing, City Services, Planning Commission for 4 years. I was the only woman serving on planning for 4 years. And now we do have more women on planning, which is a good thing. I listen. I really do listen. Certain items like rent control, yes. I've always been against rent control, but our city is against rent control. So I have listened. I've listened on the RV issue. I've listened to everything. The current issue with the 4G, not 5G towers that Verizon wants to put up is a heavy issue for Pacifica. There are federal regulations that prevent us from denying them for certain reasons. We did, as a group, put that off so that hopefully we could come up with an alternative for those towers. I would like to serve Pacifica again. It's really important to me to go back on to finish what we started. I think I said this earlier, but in government, everything takes a long time. People will say to us, pass this ordinance tomorrow, and we can't pass the ordinance tomorrow because that's not how government works. And everyone will see that as they go along. And I'm happy to see a new person on council, and you guys, you people will learn a lot as you become a council member. It's a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of listening, and it matters to people. Thank you.
Okay, then Mike Cohen.
So my girlfriend and I came out to California on vacation in July of '07. We lived in Florida at the time. And we went down to Monterey for the Grand Prix. And then we were heading up to the city, but we didn't have a hotel room until Monday night. So we drove up Highway 1 Sunday afternoon after the race, and we had to find a place to stay Sunday night. And we ended up at the Seabreeze Motel. And then a few months later, we moved out here to California. We lived in La Honda. And then a few years later, we moved to Sharp Park. And we rented a little place on Brighton on the east side of the highway. And then we got married on Lindamar Beach. True story. I have wedding photos. And then a few years later, we bought a home here in Park Pacifica. And we just want what's best for the town. And I think that the people that I've met as I've gone through this process of running for election, I think they see that and they think I'm the best person to send to the council. Those people are Senator Jerry Hill, Assemblyman Kevin Mullen, all the major labor unions. So, I mean, we have big issues that we are going to be dealing with in the future here. And I hope everyone can see what these other folks have seen, that in order for the town to move forward, I am the best candidate to send to City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Tiger.
Thank you very much. And I have lived in Pacifica literally my entire life. I love this community, for it is my home. It is the only home I know, and I wish to be on council representing my home. You know, Sue Vaderlast said that we're going to learn a lot, and we are going to learn a lot. I think as somebody who's been on planning commission, I know a little bit more than somebody who maybe hasn't had that hands-on experience. As somebody who's been showing up at city council meetings for more than half a decade, I have a pretty good idea on some level how the city works. And I'd like to think I'm more inclined to hit the ground running when I get there than some others. I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever that any of the candidates have a genuine love and affection of this community and want to see what's best for Pacifica. You know, Mike and I are both endorsed by County Supervisor Don Horsley. Past that, I'm endorsed by former Mayor Karen Irvin. I'm endorsed by sitting council member Mary Beer. And I'm also endorsed by former Chair of Planning Commission Tom Clifford, current Chair of Planning Commission John Niblin, Vice Chair of Planning Lauren Berman, and Samantha Hauser, who has served on the Economic Development Committee and currently serves on Planning Commission. And the people who are supporting me and endorsing me are people who watch me on a regular basis in our community, serving this community. That's what I bring to the table. I've been serving and I want to keep serving. And, you know, I've been cultivating the relationships here in town to get that job done. And, you know, even when folks disagree with how I vote on Planning Commission, you know, they come to me later and they say, well, thank you for at least acknowledging my voice, even though you didn't vote the way I would have preferred. You're the one who did that. And that's what I bring to the table. I will acknowledge everyone's voice. The war between factions needs to end now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tiger. And then Marge, your summary.
Thank you. Thank you all, including my fellow candidates and the Pacifica Daly City Democratic Club, for your interest, support, and your attendance today, and for allowing me to be here. I really appreciate it. I have also lived in this community for 35 years. Anyone who knows me knows that I want to contribute to the community and to the greater good of everyone who lives here. I want to help preserve the community. If you know me, and I am also supported very strongly by the people who know me and the people who are getting to know me, I am a person who has my own thoughts and views. I quite often will think outside the box, so to speak, to find creative solutions and collaborative solutions. I am what I would consider a bridge personality, where I am a non-polarizing and have the ability to bridge two factions. I'm known for that in my professional life. And I want to bring that experience to Pacifica. And I too just want to preserve and protect and help grow this beautiful community that we have. I would strongly encourage you to go to my website. I am continually updating the Issues and Insights page. I like to gather information and have an informed position and opinion before I voice it. Thank you so much. I'm proud to be the only woman in the race for District 4, hold the county Democratic endorsement, the Sierra Club endorsement, and I won't list the others. You can visit my website and find those. And please join me for my meet and greet on Wednesday. Thank you.
Hey. Well, my goodness, thank you. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining here today. It's obvious that you're all passionate and committed, and it takes a lot of courage to step up, even for presenting yourself in this format. I would offer my apologies to any and all who are listening to stumbling our way through our first webinar. I really appreciate your attendance. And with that, I would like to remind you to please save the date, okay, for October 17th. That's our next, and it'll be a regular Zoom meeting with that. So all of the attendees for that meeting will be in the Hollywood Squares format and be able to, Jerry Hill will be able to see you. You can smile at him and it'll give you the opportunity to thank him for all of his years of service as he's terming out this year. With that, I would like to adjourn the meeting in memory of our dear Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And again, as they're saying, is a tireless and resolute champion for justice and a willful warrior. So all of you guys out there, whoever wins, be a willful warrior, okay? In her memory, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, with that, okay. Bye-bye.